Buongiorno. Found myself just outside of Rome, a town called Albano, visiting a friend. Arrived late last night. Didn't get a chance to do much. Had a slice of pizza in Rome, and then the heavens opened up and got absolutely drenched. And believe me, these roads are not made for torrential rain. So, didn't get a chance to do much. But today, on the way to Naples. Though the town in its current state, Albano Laziale, it's quietly supported Rome. Yeah, it's on the outskirts of Rome, about an hour train journey for all of recent memory. It allegedly predates Rome, according to myth. What the region was originally called, the Alba Lago, was at war with Rome back before the empire. Three brothers on either side, 3 brothers from Rome and 3 brothers from what this region was originally called as Alba Lago, was sent to war in the equivalent of a Colosseum in a gladiator fight to the death to see who would gain control. As my guess, Rome won that. So since then, this whole region has supported Rome for the empire. Just afterwards, it was actually a military camp for Rome. And then if you look over that way, the style of some of the streets just behind that building are almost quite military camp-esque still to this day. It still remains quite corridor-esque, quite mazy, grey and cloudy. But if I were here in the summer, over in that direction, I'd probably be going over to Lake Albano, which was formed when a volcano erupted around 36,000 years ago. And people from Rome and nearby all flock to this region in the summer. I have been to Lake Albano and it is absolutely beautiful. But I'm here at about 8:30 now. The roads are quite busy. It's usually a lot quieter than this one I've been before, and I assume people are heading off to work. I myself, the train station's just down there, and I have a train in around 10 minutes to Naples. The locals here pride themselves on the volcanic soil which still remains, which takes a lot of the vineyards take up that space, and they plant a lot of the fresh local vegetables. Locals are really proud about the unique taste that gives off. I've had some of the local wine in some of the bars in Albano, which they plant really locally, and it is very nice. I can't say I've had any of the green veg, but they tell me that it gives off a unique bitterness which isn't found in other regions of Italy. I can only say that the food I've had here since I've been here, I think this is my 4th time visiting Albano, is really nice. But this will be the first time I've ever been to Naples. Got the train to Roma Termini, getting the train to Naples now. Look at this, not a bad little setup, is it? I was pre-assigned a seat upon buying the ticket, and yeah, not bad. Got the whole 4 seats to myself, quite comfy. Some chargers here to my right. Yeah. I'll get some footage as we're chugging along the tracks, and then I'll come to you from Naples in about an hour. From Rome to Naples on the train, it's around €50. I paid 53 coming from Albano, so a couple of euros to get to Rome from Albano. But yeah, if you wanted to do a trip from Rome to Naples, for instance, you're talking about €50. There were some which were a little bit cheaper, but like a high-speed train like this will get me there in about an hour and 5, hour and 10, it's estimating, about €50. The train I'm using is Trent Italia, if it's of any interest to anybody, but I think there's only one between as well. I think that stops even with Naples vicinity itself, so I think once we're taken off, we're not stopping for about an hour. The only thing I've got booked for Naples thus far is Pompeii, which I'm doing tomorrow, so I got that in the itinerary before I came. Other than that, I hear the vibe of Naples is really, really cool, so I'm not going with too much of a plan really. I'm just going to be walking round seeing what's what. Certainly visiting the Spanish Quarter. I've been recommended a lot of pizza restaurants by people I know here in Italy. So we'll be visiting at least one of them. The bed and breakfast that I'm stopping at is in a neighbourhood called Chiaia, which is just by the sea. When I get there, I'll obviously get plenty of footage, and it's about half an hour walk from the very centre of Naples. It might be a little bit more. Hello again. We're all checked in Morelli 49 B&B in Chiaia. Hello. In what is described as one of the more glamorous and boutique neighbourhoods in Naples. I've got a nice little balcony here, and I'll show you a little bit of the view. Sort of nice timing now. Sort of fits the fairy tale look, having a bit of a flower truck there, and I think there seems to be quite a big shopping boutique or mall over in that direction. I've not explored too much now because after I got off the train I got the 151 bus over, which let me just outside there, just outside of the B&B, but shortly I am going to go and explore, and obviously you'll come with me. We're not too far from the port, from the sea, so I'm going to head over in that direction, potentially scope out a place to eat tonight, and then I'm going to head over a bit more into the centre of Napoli, over towards the Spanish culture and everything like that. But how Naples has got a reputation for being raw and a real authentic atmosphere, I think this side is certainly representing the more glamorous side, but we will soon see. Walking around, I imagine there'll be a bit of a contrast from where I'm accommodated and when we head more into the centre. But in terms of the B&B itself, it was lovely. They were just finishing up cleaning the room, but I did get here at about 12:15 when check-in's usually about 2, so that was fine. The guy gave me an espresso, which was lovely. But to give you a brief room tour, it would be another single bed there if I needed it, but just a double for myself. And I have got a private bathroom, but it is just out there to the right. But yeah, first impressions of the place are good. Everyone here seems really friendly. So I am going to go and head around Chiaia and then into Naples. And we come to the seafront. Over there, we just came from, chock-a-block. Naples people told me that Naples was a busy place, and they weren't wrong. The Castel dell'Ovo over there, the place where we are was once, and still is to an extent, but especially under Bourbon rule, was a real showcase of the elites of this region. And over in that area there were a lot of holiday villas that Romans came and built. Naples was once seen as a getaway for them. A lot of Romans would come away as a bit of a holiday, a luxurious escape. And the Castel dell'Ovo over there, it was built for military purposes on top of a lot of the villas that fell after the eruption of the volcano. And then you've also got the Monumento a Cadetti del Mare, or in English it translates to a monument to those who have fallen at sea, which is obviously a tribute to those who've lost their lives at sea. I was reading the positioning of it is to be perfectly between the dock, the Castel dell'Ovo, and also the volcano, which obviously caused disaster in this region, around the Naples region. Yes, as we head this way, there's some construction work going on there, but along the seafront it's a little bit quieter over the backside where the work is going on. But there's a lot of bougie looking restaurants here. You can tell what this has got a reputation of being the fancier part of Napoli or of Naples. So there's a lot of outdoor seating here, and I bet some of those over by where it was a bit quieter were really, really nice. This part of Napoli particularly has got a big reputation for its seafood, so I'm going to be intrigued to see what that's like. Yeah, past a fair few designer shops on the way here, which I think is typical of where I'm stopping in Chiaia. Armani. Sadly, with the amount of luggage that I paid for on the way back, it won't be an option for me. Maybe next time. Yeah. A lot busier and a lot more hustle and bustle within just a few minutes of walking from where we just were on the seafront by the Castle dell'Ovo. A lot of music being played. Beautiful place. Beautiful place. Okay, the designer shop seems to be coming to a little bit of an end now. That little stretch there really weren't for somebody who shoved all the pants and socks in the neck pillow to avoid paying for the extra luggage. I think now we're coming into something more befitting for myself. Everywhere that I'm walking now seems to be really narrow. I've read that a lot of that was by design under a lot of the different rules in Naples for military, when there's a big soldier presence to keep security tight. When soldiers were manned on the streets, see, with them being thin, security was a lot more rigid. Naples is a real melting pot of cultures really over the years, and that's because of the amount of different rules it's had. You know, Greek, Spanish, Norman, Roman, and then modern Italian have all sort of, over the centuries, have all had its influence on the city, and it's became a real melting pot of cultures. Whereas Rome was more politically founded and politically driven, later religion driven, Naples was really making strides through trading with the Med via new trade networks, and culture with an emphasis on the arts, and very different to Rome. How Rome's almost like a walking museum. Naples has got a bit more of an atmosphere, we're just walking through, a bit more raw. Oh, mopeds everywhere. Walking through those narrow streets, like in the Spanish Quarter. A lot of pizza, a lot of market stalls, and a lot of Maradona. Hand of God flashbacks as a Brit. Oh well. Anyway, in Piazza Dante, named after the statue of this man here, Dante Alighieri, or Alighieri, I can't remember the pronunciation. He was an Italian poet, best known for his comedy. A bit more in the centre of Naples now. And anyway, I'm heading to the Naples Archaeology Museum, which is apparently one of the more underrated museums in the world. And here we are, and look at the absolute size of it. I don't know if the camera's doing this to scale, but my god, I did not expect it to be this big. However, with me visiting Pompeii tomorrow as well, I think this might bring it in nicely and combine them. There's 3 collections in this museum, one of them being the Pompeii Museum, which might give me a bit of context pre-going there tomorrow and be able to see some artefacts, and the Phoenix collection and the Egyptian collection. So I'm going to head in now. I don't know how much filming is allowed in here, but I'll film what I can. I'll get photos, certainly get photos of what I can.
Get in there! Get in there!
That was an awesome museum, that wasn't. I got some footage. Some of the stuff they were able to restore from Pompeii was just unreal, really. It was amazing. A lot bigger than you give it credit for as well. I was in there a lot longer than I thought I was going to be. I was in there, there's so much to take in. I was in there about 2.5 hours, and I probably could have stopped in there longer. But €20 to get in, which isn't too bad. I certainly got my money's worth for it. I feel a lot more informed. Anyway, I'm now on my way to Spaccanoli Street, or Spaccanapoli Street, I think it's called actually. I think I got it wrong first time, which is probably the most famous street in Napoli. Oh, had to be done. Quick refresh. Pizzeria Atanzio. Well, that pizza stop was 1, needed, and 2, bloody delicious. So I've got the name of the place in a shot when I was in there. The whole thing, that whole pizza and Coke cost me €11, which honestly that was delicious. I can honestly say I prefer Neapolitan style to Roman style. Naples beats Roma in the pizza front, in my opinion. I might be getting a few dislikes on this video now for saying that, but I've ate enough Roman pizza to deduce. Both are delicious, of course. So just down here is the destination we're heading to, guys. That's Spaccanoli Street. I believe it translate. What would the exact translation be to Splitter Street? And that's because from an aerial bird's eye view, it's so long, it looks like it essentially splits Naples or Napoli in half. Hence why it gets its name. And as I say, it's probably the most famous street in Napoli. And that's exactly where we're heading there. And some of the shots that you've just got of walking through those almost alley-like streets, you can see why it's not necessarily what you associate with typical Italian. And I think what I mentioned earlier on when I was back in near my B&B about the military history of the place and it being split into almost corridor maze-esque, you can really see that. You can really see that here. And as I said, it's not really what you associate with being quote-unquote typical Italian. You can really see how other places have had its influence here. I would say especially Greek. And walking around that museum, the Archaeology Museum, just that as well, like the amount of Greek history that was there. Everywhere really, a lot of Norman as well. Like this place is just, it's so rich with culture, and you can just feel that with every step. Whereas I'd say Rome's a little bit more of a walk-in museum, and you can't turn somewhere in Rome without seeing something like predating centuries and just ridiculously old and amazing to look at. But here I'd say it's a little bit more enwrapped and embodied just with every step you take in general, if that makes any sense at all. that monument or that obelisk that you just saw, it was built during the Great Plague, or just after rather, the Great Plague of Naples. It was a Thanksgiving offering to Saint Dominic. I mean, the street stretches for several kilometres. It's absolutely huge. We've come out of the centre now, where it was really lively. I think I got some nice shots when I was walking down I'm out of breath, sorry, walking down Napoli Street, and all the lights were turning on. It was really, really pretty. I can imagine when it gets to night time as well, dark it is, it's all lit up through like hanging street lights above, but it looks absolutely gorgeous. I might try and go in around the area a little bit later tomorrow. But for now I'm heading back to quite near the sea, near where I'm stopping, and I might be able to get a few nice shots of the sun going down, because it's starting to drop a little bit dark now. It won't be too long. I think I'm gonna have to brave this for the view. I'm a sucker for the sound of the sea, and I'm a sucker for a good view. So, to chill here for half hour, 45 minutes while it gets dark is just about my definition of bliss. Hevis loves Malinka. 2025. Sold on the feeling 2026. And I think this spot is just about to top my night off. Got myself a nice Leffe Blonde from the Grand Cafe Camino Longomare, €6, and I also got a low